guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. As you can see, today we're talking about classic flaps again. So my last video was about unboxing of this beautiful beige vintage. It's just, I'm still just so happy. I've been kind of admiring this bag for the last while. I've used it once actually since I got it, and it was, it was a quick thing, but love the bag, love the color of it. I still can't believe now I actually have both of these two bags in my collection. Just so happy. Like, they're on my shelf, so I admire them every day, and kind of anyway, super happy with the purchase. And I figured it would be a good time to talk to you guys about just like buying vintage bags, how to choose them, the differences between different versions of vintage bags, sizing, and all that good stuff. So I'm hoping to cover as much as I can in this video. And then if there's anything information that's missed or you're particularly interested in, please do comment in the video below. So first of all, this one, I'll just introduce my bags first. This is pretty much my first real Chanel bag. I purchased the Walk, which is considered more of an SLG, and after that, this is kind of my first Chanel bag in my collection. I purchased it in 2019, so it really hasn't been that long, but the price really just went crazy since that point. I purchased this in Canada in Toronto boutique. I think after tax and everything was under 8,000, so I think it was 7,800 Canadian. And now, as you guys know, after tax, this bag now it's over 12K, which is sorry, is that even correct? Yeah, which is like really crazy. So almost doubled in the past 2-3 years. And that's why I personally don't feel like I would actually purchase another classic flap in the boutique. I mean, it is too early for me to say that, but that's my feeling at this point right now. I went for the caviar option. I think at the time it wasn't super evident that the caviar is more popular. People are really after the caviar leather, I think, since that point on. But I went with caviar with the silver hardware because my Walk is already caviar in the gold hardware. So I decided that I wanted the silver hardware for the medium classic flap. Also because I find the silver just makes it a little bit more casual looking. I was thinking maybe it would make it a little bit more versatile because I can easily style it with a more casual outfit, but also with more formal outfit as well. And in terms of resale value, I do think caviar with gold hardware has slightly a higher resale value, and they seem to be selling a little bit quicker. But again, I don't have any regrets with my decision whatsoever. I've used the bag for some time, but honestly, everything is still look in perfect conditions. I would flag that, caviar leather, whether it's lambskin or caviar leather, they do change from season to season. Even within the same series, on different bags, they might look a little different in terms of the sizing of the grains, the spacing of the grains, the shininess of the leather, how puffy your quilts are. It really kind of differs from bag to bag. And I personally don't feel like there's any issue with that. I'm okay if my quilts are more flat or more puffy, or the leather is not as shiny, has a different sheen to it. I feel like that makes the bag a bit more unique. Some people are very particular with how the bag should look like, but personally I'm not too keen with all that stuff. So I purchased this bag, and I guess a quick introduction if you're new to classic flaps. It comes with your double flap, so this is your second flap. It has a useless zipper here, which is not a real thing. All it does is to create dents on your secondary flap, but that's the original design. And then I'll just take this off. I just have some protective stuff inside too. So it's burgundy inside for mine. There were earlier versions of the classic flap in black that had black interior as well, so it's not always a burgundy color. Technically, keeping what's a classic, it should be burgundy inside, but even the color, the shades of the burgundy, I feel like change from from over time. So don't be, those are again not entirely clues of what's real or fake. So people seem to use those things as possible clues for authentication, but those are not necessarily true. And then it has this, again, a useless button here. It has a layer here, and then just your larger compartment. It has technically a slot for your lipsticks, which I never use because I do feel like that will stretch out the pockets. And then kind of 2 card slots type of thing. That's where I keep my authenticity card. And then you have the Mona Lisa pocket in the back. So personally, I find this bag not the most practical bag in terms of just, you know, practicality, like how useful it is. I slide my phone in here and then put the rest of my things in the main compartment. But because of the double flap, the bag is quite stiff and it's hard to open. So sometimes if you're in a hurry, it does seem to be difficult to go access in and out of the bag. But I haven't used it a ton, and it's still in like pristine new condition. The corners has no wear. I think that's the perk of having a caviar leather bag. It's the same thing for my walk. Like, even though I used it a lot, my walk especially, there's no very little wear or sign of use on these bags. So I can vouch to say that caviar leather are super durable and long lasting. I do even think it plays a factor in terms of the structure, like keeping the structure easier to maintain and long lasting as well. So especially with a double flap, I think, you know, this bag will probably look pristine and new for another 10 years to come. But at the end of the day, it all depends on how much you use it. You know, the corners are, you know, it's hard to prevent the use on the corners and things like that, on the edges and corners of the flap. They will bump into things. Another thing I would say, like some, well, I can even compare to this one here. So now my more recent addition is this lambskin beige classic flap. I'll do a quick comparison, but it's really essentially exact same thing, like in terms of height, in terms of the flap. Here's the back. And you guys can look at the side. So you can see that the beige one, kind of the flaps hugs better the body of the bag, whereas this one kind of sticks out a little bit more. The beige one actually stands a lot better on its own, and the black one tends to tilt forward. So if I put them in a less flat surface, this one actually kind of doesn't always stand as well. See, like right now, if I have the chains forward, it will not stand by itself, whereas a beige one stand quite nicely on their own. Again, I don't know if these are flaws that you would get with more modern qualities, but I can tell that with, you know, slightly more older version, the quality is better. However, I mean, this one is not a super old vintage, because you guys know I also have a really old vintage flap that had like 10, 11 stitchings on each quilt. This one here is modern enough. I think it's from 2004, 2003. So really it's modern enough that, you know, it's pretty much the same as your current, more modern ones. Another very distinct feature that's different here, you guys can tell, I mean, it's beige with gold hardware. I've already mentioned that. But the black one has an edge stitching. So you can see there's stitching all around the flap here, whereas this one doesn't have that. And they also even have the stitching at the little opening part right here. This is a 24K gold plated, so there is a stamp on the turn lock as well, whereas this one doesn't. Even the size of the turn lock, they did change them, you know, over time. So if they look slightly different from bag to bag, doesn't deem that's not something that that determines whether the bag is authentic or not. And then if you open it up, it's pretty much the same. You have your double flaps. You have your double flap in there. Same thing. You have your lipstick holder, and the Made in France stamp. So this one is made in Italy and this one is made in France. And the other one very distinct feature is the lambskin is a lot lighter than the caviar bag. So I kind of like that fact that it's lighter. The leather is more delicate and it's more soft and it's smooth. But again, I have to tell you guys, like after, depends on the use. Like I think at the end of the day, the condition is depending on use because this one is quite pristine. What else can I tell you about? I think the edge stitching is one of the main difference in terms of the look. But everything else, oh, and the vintage ones, which I showed you guys before, has a different type of gap on the chain. So there is a hole here versus the newer versions, they don't have that gap on the chain itself. So normally I like to store them. I know I've actually looked at several different videos about how do you store your classic flaps. That will actually lead me into like the next part. I'll show you guys quickly like the different packaging that these come with, because I actually find out this is the original box for the bag itself. So it looks like a shoe box, but it is actually the original bag box. And the older ones, which I don't have it here, but come with a black dust bag. And then that's pretty much it. I honestly don't know if it comes with like booklets and things like that. Versus the modern one, obviously it's more of a fancier magnetic box. And classic versions that give you like black tissue papers for those classic lines that they have. And they offer you this white dust bag. And from what I understood, the dust bag is actually to be used to like this properly. I'll show you guys quickly. So you put the bag in here and then in the main compartment here, and the chain's supposed to be stored in the top of the flap like that, and then you close it like this. With that additional layer of the fabric, it's supposed to prevent the chains to create greases or dent on your actual bag. But I personally don't store my bags in dust bags anymore. I used to do that, but I feel like I paid so much for them. I'd rather like look at them more frequently. I think a lot of people do that. You create your own shelf for the bags. So when I do have them on my shelf, I simply like lay the chains on the back of the bag. I know it might not be the ideal scenario because if you have lambskin, the chain might eventually create some weight and dent to it. But I do adjust it once in a while, and I check my bags very frequently. I'm honestly not worried for this caviar version at all because I feel like it's not gonna really, the chain is not gonna damage any of the leather. So it basically just stands on my shelf like this. And that's what I do with my new beige one as well. It kind of just stand on the shelf like that. I put it in the back, so if actually anything, if there is a dent or something, at least it wouldn't be so devastating, but I really don't think it's a problem. Okay, so last week when I unboxed it, I was so excited that I didn't even do any mock shots for you guys, so I'm gonna do that. And actually, I will also show you guys the length comparison of the two, the strap drop, I should say. So you can tell it's exactly the same length here. So I would think it will sit on me exactly the same, at the same place for the two bags. So let me just do that quickly. Again, it's not the best reference now because I am pretty big. I am due very soon. But I still think I am 5'3", so I can give you guys a general sense of where the bag sits on me. I really love this color combination. The beige and the gold is just so pretty together. This is on one shoulder, which I think is super comfortable. Like this is how I would normally carry it. And it doesn't slip on my shoulder at all. It kind of just stays put, which which is great. And then you can do crossbody. Again, because of my belly now, the crossbody would be a little higher than it normally is, but again, it's pretty much here. As you can tell, it's a look. I kind of like the crossbody look. I know it looks a bit awkward and it doesn't work on everybody, but personally, I like the ratio. Well, first of all, I like the security and the convenience if you need, you know, if you're running errands and things like that, but it also kind of creates a nice ratio for your body, kind of elongates your legs and things like that, so I like that about it. The beige actually looks quite nice when it's contrasted against darker clothes, even though it's not recommended because of color transfer. I think if you're a super careful person, you know, I think it's okay. But it looks really nice on like a darker color clothes, just to, like, it really brings it out. It really, you can really see the bag well that way. Anyways, I really love this bag. It's really pretty. And I'll do the same thing with my caviar one. I've done several reviews and comparison with my classic flap. So if you're curious to know what it can fit or how it compares to other bags, you can please check those out. Here we go. Quickly, crossbody option. It's the same thing. Yeah. Okay. So in terms of buying, if you're looking to add one of these to your collection, I think if you're new to Chanel, everything could be a little overwhelming because there's different code, like what is 22C, what is 21K. It seems like every season there is a trending color and something that everyone is after, like the unicorn bags. But to be honest, I feel like if you're new to this whole like Chanel collection, you just need a classic flap. Whether you want it in the lambskin or the caviar, that's really up to you, because caviar is more durable and it'll probably retain its value better. So if that is a big concern for you, then definitely go with a caviar version. However, they're harder to come by, and then you know, like, it's not always readily available. You might need some connections. The funny story is, when I bought this bag, there was like 3-4 caviar leather bag in the store that day. I had like my option of choosing 2 different silver one, and I think 2 different a gold hardware one as well. So it's there, like, but that was like 2-3 years ago. Things might be a little different now. Obviously, if you're buying from the boutique, then you just need to save up for it, and obviously that's totally your own choice. But if you also have a limited budget or you can't keep up with a price increase, pre-love is always a good option. And if you're willing to go with lambskin, there's actually a lot more that you can pick from. Currently, the price on the jumbos and on the maxis are really, really reasonable in comparison to the boutique prices, because the small and the medium are still the most popular sizing. So those can go really, really fast. And if you are willing to go for a lambskin, silver hardware, you can actually find a really good, decent deal with good conditions. Now again, buying secondhand pre-love, there's also a series of different kind of risks that come with it, and I'm happy to do another video on that. But basically, you need to make sure it's authentic. You need to make sure the seller is reputable. There are a number of different things you can check before you decide to make the purchase. But I feel like after all these years of collecting bags, the one thing I would say is, don't ever feel like you're rushed to buy something. If it's from the boutique, then there's a little bit more flex, because once you purchase, you can always return and get a store credit, so it's not really the end of the world. But if you're buying secondhand or something you can't return or get your money back, then really take your time to do your research and to look around a bit more before you make that decision. I am very happy with this purchase. I mean, you can see a little bit of wear and age on the bag, but overall it's in really good condition, and I think I have many years that I can enjoy this bag. And in terms of my actual more modern caviar one, I don't think I would ever let it go. I didn't mention earlier, but like with the, at least with mine, I actually don't know what else is included now, but they have, you can also check out my unboxing video really. But they come with like booklets of, well, they give you some, the gloves to dust your bags, first of all. And it come with authenticity booklets and when and where you purchase the bag. There's a lot of different things that, like there's a card that says when you purchase the bag. I think a lot of these things are changing over time. And then it comes with the ribbon, the camellia flowers and all that. So you can definitely check out my unboxing video on this classic flap to get more information. With a second-hand purchase, obviously you won't have that fulsome experience, but at the end of the day, I think what it matters is really the bag and the fact that the bag is authentic and it is something that makes you happy. I do think generally spending the money on luxury goods is more of slight of an investment in the sense that if anything, if one day you do decide to let go of your bags, especially on these classic models, you will likely be able to get your money back or even in some cases make a little bit of profit. So the risk from that perspective is lower. Obviously the caveat being it is an authentic bag and nothing happens to it during the time of your possession. So anyways, there's a number of different things to consider. I also have a video on investing in luxury bags, so if you're interested in that topic, you can also check out that video. I think that's all I wanted to cover for today. You know, again, I would definitely like both of these bags or even a caviar in gold hardware or a lambskin in gold hardware. Either one in these classic colors are safe bets, so you won't really be, you know, don't have to overthink too much when it comes around. If you have any concerns or questions, I welcome you to reach out on Instagram or to comment down below to let me know. But I'm hoping to be able to record and publish more in the coming weeks, and hopefully actually record some stuff. Because I know I won't be able to do a lot of these during the newborn phase. And yeah, I think that's all for today. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!